What's up, guys? Welcome back to the GridironTalkZone podcast. Today it is just me, Nicolas, doing my NFL playoff bracket predictions. I'm gonna also show Graham's, but Graham could not make it today. He's he's out tonight, but um, he'll probably be back tomorrow because tomorrow me and Graham are going to be streaming doing the Jaguars Chargers game. We're going to be live streaming, just commentating during the game. We'll hopefully have a scoreboard up, but we can't show the game because it's live on YouTube and you can't do that stuff on YouTube. But we're just going to chill. So come chill with us and watch the game tomorrow. Jaguars Chargers, that is at 7:15 p.m. Central Time. We'll be live commentating and we might have some special guests on. So we'll see. But yeah, so I'm going to get into the playoff predictions. This is my playoff bracket. I'm going to show my whole bracket and kind of just talk it all through. It's not going to be too long of a podcast, but at the end, I'll show Graham's predictions as well. So getting into it, you can see my whole entire bracket. I'm just kind of going to go game by game. So starting with the Jaguars Chargers, this game is in Jacksonville. Currently, I think the Chargers are like 1.5 point favorites by the spread. But I'm feeling the Jags in this one. I think this is probably one of the hardest games to predict of the weekend. It's kind of a 50-50 matchup. But you look at the Chargers, Mike Williams is out at receiver, so that really hurts them. He's arguably the best receiver. And the Jags, I think that the way the Jags can win this game is if they can expose the Chargers' run defense, which isn't as bad as it was last year, but it's still not really super strong. And that's one of the easiest ways to get beat in the playoffs is if you don't have a strong run defense. And that could be the Chargers' case. But I think it's going to come down to, can ETN run the ball on the Chargers, which I think he can, and the big quarterback matchup, Justin Herbert versus Trevor Lawrence, both playing some very good ball right now. I'm actually feeling like Lawrence is going to have a very good game in this one. He does have the kind of big game experience dating back to his college career at Clemson, but I think Herbert's going to play well too. It's going to be a shootout. In the end, I just think the Jags can really get stuff going on the ground, and that can ultimately help them win the game. So I have the Jags beating the Chargers. On to the Ravens, Bengals. You look at the matchup here. Lamar Jackson pretty much out. I don't know if it's official yet, but he posted on his Twitter and all the reports pointing towards Lamar Jackson being out for this game. So that means Tyler Huntley would get the start for the Ravens at quarterback. And I just don't see any way the Ravens win this game. The defense has been playing very well for them, so that's a strong point. That doesn't mean it's completely out of question that they can beat the Bengals, but with Tyler Huntley at quarterback with Lamar Jackson out, I see just Joe Burrow and that offense being too much. I don't see a way that the Bengals or that the Ravens can score enough points on the Bengals to win this game. Even with a good defense, Roquan Smith, first team All-Pro announced today. He's playing very well. So, yeah, the defense can maybe keep it close for a half, but then I just think that the Ravens offense can't hang with the Bengals offense for a full entire 60-minute game. So I think that the Bengals are going to beat the Ravens by a good 10 to 14 points. On to the next one. This is one of the easiest playoff games you could ever have to predict. Dolphins 7 seed playing the 2 seed Bills in the AFC wildcard round. This game's Sunday at noon. Tua Tagovailoa is out. That's what makes this game easy to predict. Tua is out. Teddy Bridgewater is out. So you're looking at rookie quarterback Skylar Thompson, and I believe Mike Glennon is his backup. Let me double check on that. Not sure, but Mike Glennon is probably going to be the backup quarterback for the Dolphins this game. So you're relying on Skylar Thompson or Mike Glennon to go beat a Buffalo Bills team that some people have in the Super Bowl. Not me, but a very good team that's definitely a Super Bowl contender. And you're asking Skylar Thompson or Mike Glennon to go beat that team. I don't see it happening. I think that the Bills are going to run away with this one. I could even see it being as much as a 25 to 30 point win for the Bills. I think it's going to be a blowout. So on to the NFC wildcard games. We'll start with Cowboys Buccaneers, the 4-5 matchup in the NFC. Bucs the 4 seed, Cowboys the 5 seed. Cowboys are 12-5, the Bucs are 8-9. This is a very tough one to predict. Probably the toughest game of the week to predict. It's a Monday night game. I'm going to take the Bucs to beat the Cowboys, and here's why. I think it really comes down to the turnover battle. And, Brady's been smart with the football this year, not as turnover worthy as Dak has been. So I think I could see Dak making some maybe mistakes in the second half that cost the Cowboys this game because I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be close no matter what. And ultimately, in the end, I just trust Brady and the Bucks to make more plays than Dak and the Cowboys. But the Cowboys could definitely win this game. I believe they're a 3-point favorite, if I'm not mistaken, and they definitely have been playing better than the Bucks this year. But on paper, it really isn't too far off talent wise. It's just the product on the field has been better for the Cowboys than the Bucks this year. But the Cowboys have slowed down a little bit recently, and I think that Brady versus Dak matchup really sides towards the Bucks, and I think the Bucks are going to get a home playoff win here versus the Cowboys. On to the Giants Vikings. Another tough game to predict. This one is really interesting for me. So an interesting thing to note is that the Giants are 3-point underdogs in this game in Minnesota, and the Giants are 13-4 against the spread this year. So that's looking like I think the Giants will not definitely, but probably cover the spread, and I'm even going to pick them to win this game, upset the Vikings. Vikings' defensive struggles have been noticeable this year. That could end up hurting them. Obviously, on paper, the Vikings are a more talented team than the Giants. They have a better record than the Giants. But Brian O'Neill is out at tackle for Minnesota. That can ultimately hurt them with the pass rush you have with the Giants, with Thibodeau, Azeez Ojulari, if he is playing. I believe he was questionable, but he might be cleared by now. We'll see, though. But Dexter Lawrence playing like one of the best nose tackles in football. You have Leonard Williams, too. So I just think that this pass rush is going to be very tough for the Vikings, and that could ultimately be a reason why the Giants win this game. Another thing to look forward to is can Saquon have a big day? It's really going to come down to can Saquon make a lot of plays for the Giants, enough to help them control the clock, and they can get after Kirk Cousins with the pass rush versus a somewhat banged up Vikings O-line with O'Neal out at tackle. And I think that the Giants are going to sneak into Minnesota and get an upset win here. As good as O'Connell has been as a coach, I think Dable is probably coach of the year, and I think that the Giants, with Wink Martindale too as defensive coordinator, have a very nice coaching staff, and I think that the Giants are going to be able to get an upset playoff win in Minnesota. On to the next one. This one's an easy one to predict for me. The Seahawks sneaked into the playoffs and are going to go play the red-hot San Francisco 49ers. Just keep it simple. The 49ers defense is too good to lose this game at home, and the offensive firepower is crazy. And Kyle Shanahan is doing an amazing job coaching this team. Everything leans 49ers. Expect a 15-20 49er point win for this one for the Niners versus Seahawks. So that brings me to the divisional round picks. Going back to the AFC, we'll start with the Jags Chiefs. 4C Jacksonville would, in this scenario, go into Kansas City. I'd assume they'd probably be around a 5.5 or so point underdog, and I think the Chiefs would win this game. Probably a 7-10 or 10, maybe 13-point win even. As much as I like how the Jags team has been playing, just the lack of experience for Jacksonville in this game, for Jacksonville versus all the experience Kansas City has, it's probably going to be too much for Jacksonville to handle at Arrowhead. Definitely great home field for the Chiefs in the playoffs especially. And the all-around team of Kansas City is just really good this year, better than I expected it to be. Obviously, we know Mahomes is playing like the best quarterback in football. He's going to win MVP, no doubt. And Kelsey's having another great year. The O-line's good. The pass rush is really good. The thing with the Chiefs is they do have a couple of young players on defense, but they also have a lot of veterans who are doing their part, and they're just healthy at the right time. Everything seems to be clicking for Kansas City, so I think that they're going to win this game versus Jacksonville. Again, 1-2 possession win for Kansas City, probably. On to the next one. This and my NFC Championship game, I think, are the hardest games of the whole entire playoff to predict if they were to happen. Bills, Bengals in Buffalo. This is a tough game because Buffalo does have home field, and that makes me want to pick Buffalo in this one. But I just think Cincinnati's completeness and their ability to run the ball with Joe Mixon, along with the offensive firepower passing the ball with Burrow, Higgins, Chase, Boyd, even Hayden Hurst. I think that is just going to be what separates the Bengals slightly in this game. No doubt I think this would be a one-possession game, and I really do want to pick Buffalo to beat Cincinnati in Buffalo. But I just feel like Cincinnati again has that extra edge with the running ability out of the running backs offensively over Buffalo. And to add to reasons why I think Cincinnati could win this game versus Buffalo is because Von Miller has been out for weeks now. He's out for the rest of the year for Buffalo. That hurts the pass rush. He was playing very well. And Allen versus Burrow obviously is going to be a big storyline in this game. I expect both quarterbacks to play at an elite level. Um, don't really know if I can think I'd lean one way or the other for this specific game and situation because both have been very good in their playoff careers. But again, just the completeness with Cincinnati offensively run the football, I think, can get them the win versus Buffalo. But tough environment to play in, definitely a tough game. On to the NFC divisional matchups. Giants at Eagles. This is the 6 seed Giants, who I just said I'd have them upsetting the 3 seed Vikings this weekend. Now you have to go play the 1 seed Eagles. This is a tough matchup. Just a talent mismatch. If you look at rosters on paper, Eagles roster is one of the top 2-3 rosters in football. The Giants, it's probably borderline playoff caliber. They did have a really good season, probably overachieved by a game or two. But yeah, I just think that's a talent mismatch. We see them play in the regular season. It seems like the Eagles kind of have the Giants' number, and I think that would continue in the playoffs. So I'm going to have the Eagles beating the Giants, advancing to the NFC Championship game. Look at the other NFC divisional round matchup in this scenario would be Bucks going to play in San Francisco versus the Niners. It's just looking at it. One team, the Niners, is way harder than the Bucks right now. The Bucks, they're not playing pretty good ball. And the Niners, they're playing really good ball. They're on a 10-game winning streak. They started the season 3-4, and they finished 13-4. So that's 10 straight wins. And the Bucks, little banged up. Shaq Barrett, I believe, is out the rest of the year. Julio's status seems to be up in the air week to week. Julio Jones at receiver. So, yeah, again, I just think the Niners playing much better ball than the Bucks right now. And even with Tom Brady, I don't think it's going to be enough to beat this Niners team. Defense playing very well. They're going to get pressure on Brady, even with a pretty good Bucks offensive line. And I just see the Niners winning this game by probably 10 to 13 points versus the Bucks. So that brings me to my championship games. Bengals at Chiefs. This one's another tough one. So definitely think it would be an offensive shootout. We've seen this matchup multiple times over the last couple of years. I believe we've seen it 3 times. The Bengals have won all 3 versus the Chiefs, including last year's AFC Championship game in Arrowhead Stadium. But yeah, I said it's going to be an offensive shootout. One matchup that makes me side with KC in this one is Kansas City's pass rush versus, a not amazing Bengals offensive line. Probably a little bit better than last year's offensive line for the Bengals, but still not amazing. And KC's pass rush is very good. Chris Jones is playing like arguably the best defensive tackle in football. You have George Karlaftis, Carlos Dunlap, and overall this Chiefs pass rush I think could be something that maybe makes a difference in this specific game. But I just have a feeling in Arrowhead, Mahomes is playing MVP ball. He's going to make that extra play that gets the Chiefs to the Super Bowl this year. But again, between the Bills, Bengals, and this AFC title game, I just feel like it's very hard to predict. And I believe it's between 3 teams in the AFC: Bengals, Chiefs, Bills. I happen to have the Chiefs coming out. And moving on to the NFC Championship game, I'm pretty confident that this will be the NFC Championship game. Niners playing the Eagles in Philadelphia because the Eagles are the 1 seed at 14-3 and the Niners are the 2 seed at 13-4. This is, along with the Bills-Bengals, in my opinion, the hardest game to predict in this hypothetical playoff scenario that I'm predicting. But looking at it, San Francisco's hot right now, like I said, and I believe that they have a coaching advantage. Nick Sirianni is a good coach. Obviously, the Eagles have good coordinators getting head coaching candidate consideration right now, getting some interviews. But D'Amico Ryans, DC, Kyle Shanahan, head coach, calling the plays. I think Shanahan has really done an amazing job this year with this team. And I think that the coaching mismatch is something that really, or not mismatch because Eagles are very good coaching, but the coaching advantage for the Niners makes me want to pick the Niners in this game. Niners have been playing better ball recently than the Eagles. And one thing to note is Brock Purdy has been playing good. Him and Jimmy G could be coming back around this time, and we'll see who starts, Purdy or Jimmy G. That'll be interesting to see what happens. But That also makes me feel comfortable the Niners maybe having some stability. They have a backup quarterback. And Hurts, he's still he's healthy, but is he still a little banged up coming off an injury? Some things just tough to see me picking this Eagles team to win this game, but they very well could beat the Niners at home. This is going to be a tough one. I'm going to take the Niners. I just love how the Niners are playing right now. I'm feeling that the Niners will come out of the NFC. So that leads me to have a Niners versus Chiefs Super Bowl, which would be an amazing Super Bowl. It would be a rematch of a Super Bowl 54, I believe, from the 2019-2020 season, where Mahomes and company had a big fourth quarter to beat the Jimmy Garoppolo, Kyle Shanahan 49ers team. I think the difference here is quarterback. Mahomes versus Brock Purdy / Jimmy G. Obviously, that may sound cliche, but because the Niners are a very complete team, and I do have them going this far, so obviously they're capable of winning the Super Bowl. But one thing that comes to mind is, yeah, we saw the Chiefs and Mahomes get to the Super Bowl and lose to a defensive stacked team in the Bucs a few years ago. But you have to remember something. Mahomes was under pressure all game because the Chiefs' offensive line was completely banged up with a lot of backups playing, especially at both tackle spots. I believe both tackle spots had backups in that game. So that obviously affected Mahomes and company for the Chiefs, which expecting the Chiefs to be healthy, Niners healthy. Yes, Nick Bosa and company from the Niners are still going to get pressure on Mahomes, but I think that Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes can have a good enough game plan to keep it. It's definitely going to be close. It's going to be close. It's a Super Bowl between two really good teams. And if it's close, I think Mahomes makes that extra play compared to a Brock Purdy or Jimmy Garoppolo. As much as I like Kyle Shanahan, as much as I like the offensive weapons, the defense of the Niners, I think the quarterback advantage gets the Chiefs the win in this one. And that brings me to the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl over the 49ers is my prediction for this year's Super Bowl 57. And I'd have Patrick Mahomes winning MVP in this case in the Super Bowl. So that's my bracket. I'm going to flash up Graham's real quick. Again, Graham couldn't make it, but Graham's expected. He's expected to be back tomorrow for our stream. We're streaming 7:15 p.m. Central Time. The playoff game between the Chargers and the Jaguars in the game's in Jacksonville. We're streaming from our houses, obviously. But yeah, that's a game I'm excited for. So we're excited to stream that one tomorrow night. But real quick, I'm going to show Graham's playoff prediction thingy. His bracket is very, very similar to mine. So it's hard to see. I'm just going to tell you, he has everything the same besides when we get to the championship games. You see, he has the Jags beating the Chargers, the Bills beating the Dolphins, the Bengals beating the Ravens, the Giants beating the Vikings, the Niners beating the Seahawks, the Bucs beating the Cowboys. I have all the same wildcard games. Then he has the Chiefs beating the Jags, the Bengals beating the Bills, the Eagles beating the Giants, the Niners beating the Bucs, same divisional games. But he has the Bengals beating the Chiefs in the championship game, which is totally respectable. He also has, like me, the Niners beating the Eagles in the NFC championship game. So he has a Bengals-Niners Super Bowl, and he has the Bengals winning that one. I have a Chiefs-Niners Super Bowl, as you just saw, with the Chiefs winning that one. So interesting that we have super similar brackets, but yeah, it's definitely going to be a good playoffs. I would love to see Graham's matchup too in the Super Bowl. I think that would be a really interesting one that could go either way, much like my prediction, the Chiefs Bengals one. But yeah, so that's my playoff predictions. Hope you enjoy it. Again, reminder: be on the lookout for our stream tomorrow night. Jags Chargers playoff game, 7:15 p.m. Central Time. We'll hopefully have a scoreboard up and just chilling and commentating. We'll probably have some special guests on for the game tomorrow. So that'll be fun. But yeah, thanks for watching. And that's my playoff predictions. Hope you enjoyed. Be sure to leave your predictions in the comments. And thanks for watching.